up, get out right out of your bed, that's your quicksand. Getting rid anxiety and head, you can fix it. Rid of stigmas, all of them you said, we ain't listening. Just remember, try to do your best, you can win this. Maurice Benard, State of Mind.
Okay, this is State of Mind Sunday. If you like what you see, hit this little button right here, blop, 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 blop. And we're gonna get to the goal, and the goal is maybe 200,000 at this point. Keep on hitting the button, and we'll get there by tomorrow. So, who I have today is I haven't seen this person in maybe about 8 years, 9 years, maybe. He came on the soap, kind of made a splash, because he's not just good looking, big arms, big shoulders. But he can act, very talented, and he was nominated for an Emmy, and then he won an Emmy, if I'm not mistaken. And that's for somebody to come on for not that long and do that is a testament to his talent. And we're friends. We had a lot of laughs. We still laugh even now. His name is Sean Blakemore.
What's up, brother?
What's going on, man?
Man, life, bro.
We're just sitting here doing this and having a good time.
As we always did.
What I want to get into with you, because I don't even know, because that's what happens. I get to know people more from State of Mind than I do from, being on a show.
Yeah.
Because it's the nature of the questions or whatever it is. Right. So, where did you grow up? And give me the whole shebang.
Grew up St. Louis. My mom, was married and got divorced, and so she was a single mom raising 7 kids. And we're all a year apart. So it was 5 girls, 2 boys, 2 sets of twins, and I'm in between the twins. And so, yeah, man. So I grew up, St. Louis, and kind of all over the place. You don't have enough time. Wow. For the type of show you would have if I told you my story. But
when you were a kid?
Just growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was tough. You grew up in
I like hearing that.
It was extreme poverty, and it was tough. Listen, by the time I was a freshman in high school, that was my 10th school. And so moving around a lot, having to adapt a lot, and just constantly.
How much did you hate going to a different school each time? I would have hated it.
It was the worst. Because you never felt like, for me, because I had to move so much, it was always moving, you never felt grounded. And you always feel like, okay, if you feel like you're going to tap in, you're about to tap out because you're going to have to move again. And so it's tough. It's tough for a kid. But also, I think in a fortunate way, it helps build resilience.
Yeah.
It helps you be more assertive and being confident. You had to choose confidence because your lifestyle, your trials and tribulations could break you. And so you have to make these tough choices as a kid. It's not always easy, but you have to.
So sometimes you would be in school and you'd have best friends and great, people you're very close to. And then it's like, Sean, we're going back to, over here.
Yeah, you couldn't, I think, as a kid, everybody's your friend. You think so. And, so you're just trying to adapt. You're trying to hold on to something to get familiar with it. You're trying to hold on to something to make it feel safe and at home. And, for me in my situation, I just got used to not doing that. And so you just have to, again, be resilient, just be creative, and just, bearing your way through a situation.
Yeah.
Man. You just have to do it and push through it. So
Were you very protective with your sisters, or were they?
very much so. We all were. We were very protective. I was little big brother, because, again, I was number 5 of 7. And then under me was a brother and sister. And so we're all very protective of one another because we had to be. And so, for us, we got very good at learning how to survive.
Yeah.
And just being advocates for one another. We were also very individual.
Yeah.
So we kind of like we were all in the household, and
Like a small house with that many.
small whatever, man. It's wherever you lived. You kind of like, it wasn't, always a house situation. It could be a house, apartment. It could be temporarily with a family member. It was, it was tough. I mean, me growing up, I don't talk about that. I don't think I've ever spoken about this publicly. But, yeah, man, my mom, she was a powerhouse, and, she's had to deal with a lot to raise 7 kids by herself.
Damn.
Because at that time, when she separated, she was 24 with 7 kids by herself.
Wow.
Yeah, man. And so I learned so much as a kid how to do things. So many things was like a gift and a curse. I learned, from how to cook and how to iron, how to walk to places by myself, how to navigate through life. You had to learn. You had to adapt quickly, and it was all about survival. So I learned about survival quickly, and and then just to do without. To have the luxury of what most people had, like a phone, eating, a bed. I didn't sleep in a bed until I was a junior in high school. I slept on the floor.
Wow, it's like my wife.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you adapt, man, and so I would never want that for my kids, but I've learned a lot in that process.
I'm the and this is the difference, and you're absolutely right, because I'm the opposite. I was anything I wanted, I got, and where that hurt me is I went from one mother to another mother, so I never learned how to wash clothes, wash dishes. I see people living on their own,
Right.
and that to me is like I admired, like I put them on a pedestal just for living on their own.
Right.
Now, for me especially, it's not good because of my mental health. I just needed to learn a lot of that stuff
Right.
to help me here, where you went through that early, but you're like this confident,
Listen, life affects everybody differently.
right?
I had to learn confidence. It's something you're just not born with that innate gift
Yeah,
to be confident. I had to learn. I had to tap into self. Every day my experiences, I had to learn the toughness from the streets and growing up around certain individuals, whether they be strangers, friends, or family. You had to learn having a strong mindset. And again, not everybody overcame that. I have family members and friends who struggled with that, who struggled with struggling,
yeah.
and they haven't gotten over that. So not everyone is fortunate. So I count my blessings, man. I think I'm very fortunate to have been able to have a clarity
Yeah.
to overcome each obstacle, and it was tough. Life's training course was it was brutal, man. But
Were you tough? You were tough
Oh,
always?
yeah.
Always tough?
but I had to learn that too. because I didn't grow up with.
Were you big?
Oh man, I was a tiny dude. I grew up, man.
No,
Let
Sean.
me tell you something. My freshman and sophomore year, because listen, I didn't eat a lot, so I missed a lot. I was malnutritioned. So my freshman and sophomore year, I was 4'11", 97 pounds. I was wrestling 97 pounds. Yeah, bro.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I didn't have a growing spurt. I remember running track, and I ran track since I was a little boy, and when I got to high school, at the end of my sophomore year, after school was over, I was having a lot of pains in my knees and my shins and ankles. And I was, oh man, I'm getting weak legs. You know, I'm like, oh man, this is horrible. Yeah. And so I had to stop playing sports for a while. I was having a crazy growing spurt. So 2 years I was growing like crazy. Yeah, man. So I didn't stop growing until after high school.
Dang.
So yeah.
When did you start getting bigger and?
Probably like the first year of high school. I was a late bloomer with everything. I mean, even to have the capability of growing hair on my face. You know, I didn't have peach fuzz until I was a senior in high school.
Really?
Yeah, man. So I was a senior in high school. So then I was just like late bloomer. I was appreciative of that because a lot of my boys who I was in high school with, they were aging very fast.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I had guys who, and freshmen had full beards.
Yeah.
It's like,
I had a mustache.
You're too strange to come to mustache. Did you have an official mustache?
No, I had a thick mustache. I was a tough guy. I fought all the time and stuff.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, man, you had to.
It's in kind of the, you know.
I think a kid, especially as a boy, no matter what, a child has to learn to defend themselves. I mean, that's just a nature.
Yeah.
You have to, and because knowing how to defend yourself brings about a confidence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I grew up on the streets, and
what about mental health at that time? Nobody even talked about it.
Mental health is a serious thing, man. I mean, especially.
But you're cool. You don't have any.
No, man. You know, I was fortunate, but I'm aware of mental health, and I have family members and friends who have challenges with that. So, because that's not my struggle, I'm not blind to it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, some people are blind to it.
Yeah, man. Unfortunately, sometimes people can only see what's in their corner.
Exactly.
But you have to broaden your horizon. You have to, have a broader perspective of life.
Yeah.
Because this world is affected so much with people with mental health. And sometimes you're born with it, and sometimes it could be different trials that cause this, that trigger that.
Yep.
And set people in for a momentary of depression, or, it could be years struggling with that. Because of these seeds, they can't relinquish these things, man. And it just constantly grows into something, and and it festers into a deep depression, and they become codependent on certain things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So no, mental health is a very important reality, and I say all the time, I think the basic challenges of today, all that we see,
yes,
are people because of mental challenges.
Yeah.
Choices they make. I mean, it could be minute, or to the extremities of things. You know what I'm saying? But I think we have mental and emotional challenges all day long, man. That make these choices.
For myself, as you know, everybody knows, I just went through something, but I attribute having it be ongoing with me to the fact that I think that I don't need help, so I don't go to therapy. Right. And then, because there's many people that are like that, but I can talk to you about it and do the show and everything. But my problem has been that I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. And when you have, anxiety, bipolar, depression. If you don't do what needs to be done, the man upstairs is going to give you that little thing.
Yeah.
Right?
So what changed for you? What made you tap? Because this is a form of therapy.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Sean. But you're right, and that's what happened. Enough people told me that this was therapy, so I said, I don't need therapy. But
That's
this
ego.
That's
all that is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need, this is cool,
Right.
but it's not enough.
Correct.
And I just didn't. Now I'm doing it. And what the question you asked is why I'm doing it. I'll tell you why. Because of fear. Because of, I don't want I call it kind of I did call it Freddy Krueger, but somebody said don't call it Freddy Krueger. Right. When that comes, this last time came, scared the hell out of me. Yeah. And I can't have that happen again.
No, man, listen, you can't. You regardless if you're in your situation where you've been very fortunate.
Yes.
Or someone who hasn't. You have, we say mental health. Then once you realize that that's something you're dealing with on a daily basis, you have to make a healthy choice.
Yeah.
To address that.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
There's no turning around. I don't care what it is you want to achieve in life. I mean, listen, if you want to achieve it, there's going to have to be actions taken on your part. I don't know, you just want to get in shape? Well, you got to
exactly. Yeah.
Exercise.
Yeah.
You want a better job? Well, you got to put yourself in a position to obtain that. It's an action. It always requires an action. And so your fear is your wake-up call.
Yes.
That's a good thing. Otherwise, I'm not an advocate of living in fear. But if your fear was the wake-up call, it was a good thing.
Yes.
Because usually fear stems us from living.
Yes.
That's what it just refrains us from moving.
Right.
But sometimes that fear could be a jolt to say, hey, you need to wake your ass up.
Yes.
Because this is the alternative.
Now, I'm going to ask you, I already know the answer. Okay. Because I ask this a lot. I've come to the conclusion that, because I've asked a lot of people, if you don't care what people, a lot of times people that don't care what people think are not mentally ill. I know you don't care what people think.
No,
okay, and you're not mentally ill, right?
Flying, you know what. But let me tell you something. That is all things can be learned.
Yeah.
All things can be learned. And that is one of the most healthiest choices you can make in your life. Is not giving a damn what somebody thinks.
But were you born with it, Sean?
No, listen. I had to come into my manhood. I had to come into my manhood, my individuality. You have to discover these things. But see, when things are presented to you, listen, when things are presented to you, you're always put in a position to make a choice. I always say God gave you your two greatest gifts, life and choice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what you do with that life, the choices you make with that life.
Right.
So you're always presented a scenario in every situation, every experience you have. It's an opportunity to learn and grow, but it's about application. You know what I mean? So nobody is born ready-made. Nobody is walking through life who doesn't make a mistake, who has all their shit together, who doesn't,
Right.
There's no such thing because we're consistently growing. We're consistently having experiences. So you're consistently being molded and elevating if you're smart. The smartest person in the world know one thing if they don't know anything is that they don't know everything.
Right.
So when you allow yourself to expand and to grow, then, self-discovery is a consistent. That's something that is a constant, man.
Yeah.
Self-discovery. So when you ask me, was I always like this? No. Bro, listen, I grew up mad poor. I'm talking about going to school with literally holes in my shoes with my feet on the ground. the soles flapping off, pens holding your pants, all this. You haven't eaten in 2 days, and so you can't play because you're trying to play it off because
Right.
your shoes are going to fall completely apart. So I had so little confidence because I always felt insufficient. I used to have to lie about just having paper and pencil in school. I had to cover up everything. I've always had to put on a face. And that's the that's the irony of it. I've always had to put on a face. Excuse me. I've always had to put on a face as if things weren't so bad. Now this is a poor kid growing up in the hood with other poor kids, but I was poorer than the other poor kids, and so you're constantly feeling insufficient, lack of, because all of your insufficiencies and your lack are obvious.
Right, right.
No food, no gas, no electric, no clothes. I'm talking about basic essentials. I'm not talking about having the cool toys and a bike and, some cool clothes. No, I'm talking about, just being able to survive, being well enough to survive just to go to school. And that is constantly a mental challenge.
Yeah.
Every day you have to attack that. You have to be an advocate for yourself. You can be exhausted, but you have to make a decision. Even before I knew that, I had to save face, to stay strong in my everyday situations, my everyday scenarios. I had to put on a face to make it through. You can't look weak in front of the other kids. You can't look so invaluable.
Yeah.
You have to get by. So you have to learn to become strong, and learning to become strong is extremely challenging and exhausting.
But not caring what people think.
You have to learn that. I had to learn that because I was embarrassed. Oh, bro, you grow up, so you get embarrassed when you care what someone thinks.
Right.
I was embarrassed constantly. When someone asked me, because it's one of the questions you ask, hey, what is one of your most embarrassing moments? Man, that's a lifetime of stories.
Yeah.
Like literally, we don't have time. What's my most embarrassing moments? Now, there's endless. And all of that is being embarrassed, and all of that is having to bear the judgment of others. Constantly being reminded where you lack, where you aren't, the differences of you and them.
Yeah.
So, oh man, it took a long time for me to say, man, whatever. It is what it is. I'm gonna get through it. That took a long time, man.
And your mother, how great your mother.
I always tell my mom my favorite advice she's ever given me. She gave me a lot of great jewels as a kid. One of the things she would say was, as a sidebar, one of the things she would always say, listen, you might not have it, but you don't have to look it.
What? Say it again?
You might not have it, but you don't have to look it. Represent yourself. Represent yourself. You hold yourself in a way. So one of my favorite things she's ever shared with me, other than that, she saw me talking to one of my best friends at the time as a kid, and there was a couple of girls around, and so I'm kind of like just sitting back, and my buddy, we're still good friends to this day, and this was like maybe freshman, sophomore in high school, and I'm just kind of like we're over in my driveway, he and I and a couple of girls, and he was being extra colorful to get the girls' attention. And I kind of like sat back because I knew he needed to do that for himself.
Right.
And I kind of sat back, and my mom, I stepped in the house, and she said, listen, Sean, I don't want to get in your business. She said, but I watched you with your best friend. I know you care about him. She said, but listen, don't ever dim your light so somebody else can shine. That changed my life.
That's cool, man.
Oh man, because they're gonna love you anyway.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
The right person gonna love you. They would
Right.
never want you to or require. Now he's never asked me to do that. It was just something I was doing.
Yeah.
So he need to shine a little bit, so I'll be quiet and let him do his thing. But she was like, "Nah, we're not gonna do that." Wow. And I never moved that way since. You know, so you learn these things over years through experiences, how to walk in confidence and not give up what somebody thinks, bro. Because, listen, an opinion has as much power as you give it.
Yes.
It's only valuable if you say it is. And I learned not to value random individuals' opinion. They're living their lives.
Yes.
God gave you yours, He gave you mine. Everyone lives their lives. So their opinion is just that. Their opinion.
Yes.
And so
You should never live and die by somebody else's opinion.
no, bro. They're living their lives, and you're gonna mold and dictate yours based
Yeah.
on what somebody's thinking. They live
Yeah.
their lives, so you're gonna live your life for them, and they get to live their own lives.
Yeah, exactly.
No, do you?
This interview is what you're getting into is really, really cool. It really is, really deep. Really, it's going to help people. I can tell you that right now. You lived your life poor. I didn't, and I'm not going to say I wish I had.
No, you don't want that. No,
It's going to take us 5 hours to get into why I say that.
But I get it.
You get my drift.
No, I get
you
it.
get my
Absolutely.
drift. Okay. So this is a story of when I first met my wife when she was 16, and I didn't start living with her. She was 17, but
You weren't 30, were you?
no, I was
You
20,
doing Elvis, didn't you?
22,
No, that's playing.
22.
No, I was playing.
And when I started going out with her, she used to have me go to pick her up at the corner, at work, never at home. It's going on for 4 months. I said, Paula, I mean, what's the deal? Why can't I pick? So eventually I went anyway. I get to the door and I knock on it, and this woman answers. It's hard to describe Paula's mother without, it's just, you can imagine. And she goes, "Hi, can I help you?" I said, "Is Paula here?" "Yeah, hey, Paula!" Paula comes running out. Goes in. I walk in this house, this like small little house, that's why I asked you, with 12 people in there smoking. Just looking at me like, "Who are you?" I'm like, okay. So Paula comes out, and we get in the car, and Paula says, "That's why I never wanted you to pick me up at my house, because my family is a bunch of drug addicts." And I said, "Listen, I don't care if you're rich, poor, drug addicts, no drug addicts. If I care about you, there's no judgment."
Absolutely.
And we've been together for 34 years, man.
That's crazy.
So that's the, so it's I gotta,
So she had to come to, even for her, she had to come into that because, not everybody understands your circumstance. And as a kid, you don't even understand that.
right.
And it's a lot to bear because you have to bear, that's your cross to bear, and you have to bear the choices of others because you're in that environment and you can't control that environment.
Yeah.
Until you can't control it.
Right.
You got to put yourself in that position. And so, hey man, listen, she needed you at that time to remind her that your value does not come through their decision making.
Yeah. Yeah.
She needed you at that time.
Yeah.
It was a great time.
Yeah.
And she also needed to be encouraged that you're more than what they represent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
There are no accidents.
No.
You know, how you say, you know, you would want to. Sometimes you wish
I could.
you could be in my shoes. I say, no, you don't.
Yeah.
Now listen, I've learned so much in my journey from a young man to a man. I've made a lot of choices, and you know, good and bad. I would not change one thing, but I would never want to go back to one day.
Yeah.
Ever. Listen, bro. It was a beast to get through. But damn, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah.
tough. And it doesn't take all of that, what I had to go through as a kid, even as a young man, it doesn't take all of that to learn.
Right.
It just takes a person who is willing to observe and to apply.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you know, growth doesn't happen without application.
No.
'Cause I can give you all the information in the world, but if you don't apply it, there's
Yeah.
no opportunity for growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the first thing of growth, you have to desire to want it.
Yeah.
You have to want to grow. Then you're receptive. Now you're ready to receive. That's the second. And now after you receive, you take it in.
Yeah.
You say, let me apply what works for me. And that's the thing. And now you're getting the benefits.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a process. I always say, you know, you got to be in a process in order to progress. You know, so you have to allow yourself, man. So we spoke earlier, I had to come into who I am, man. And every experience was a teacher. You know, say your experience is your greatest teacher, because they are, if you allow them to be.
Yes. How much do you cry? Sean Blake, let me ask you again. Let me ask it again.
Yeah.
How often or how much, or do you cry, Sean Blakemore?
It is a rarity.
I know, I knew it.
Yeah, but for my kids, I have.
Ah.
For them, I couldn't tell you.
Because of the way you were brought up?
Well, you grow up, well, you brought up, because you you have to make a mental note to be strong, to push through. It is a must. And where I'm from, there's no time for that.
Damn.
You cry, I'll break you. Like, what is this? What are you crying?
It's hard on men, though.
Yeah, it is. You know, because, you know, we have so much to bear, man. Because, you know, listen, we're held most accountable. And if you spend your time being emotional, you know, that was my thought process. If you spend all this time being emotional, you're not getting that done. Damn. And it was a sign of weakness.
Yes, of course it was.
But now I know it's not.
Not yes.
You know, now I know it's not a sign of weakness. But this is the irony of it. If you cry too much, that is weakness.
Well, because, there's something wrong with you.
Because you're emotionally driven.
Yes, I get you.
You can't be emotionally driven.
No.
I got it. It's tough.
Right.
Everything tough you ain't got to cry about.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Then you become, that's what the term crybaby comes.
Yeah.
You know.
Like when I go through my shit,
yeah,
that's when I'm crying like a motherfucker.
Yeah,
and it's
and
just
that's understandable.
And you know this, but it's understandable, but there's something wrong.
Right, correct.
Right.
Correct. And, you know, and that something wrong can be made right. It's just your lack of understanding.
Yes.
And once you get into understanding this,
Yeah.
Because we're at peace when we have clarity.
I know.
We're most frustrated when we're confused.
Yeah.
And
True.
only thing you're crying about is things you're confused about.
Yeah, I get it.
And things you can't control.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating.
Yes.
It's aggravating.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, and listen, I never judge a dude who cried, man. That wasn't my thing, you know. But I understand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's not even so much, okay, you're crying. It's more, for me, I always thought about, what are you crying about? Let me hear that. So when you're crying about a brokenness of a family tragedy,
I get you.
or you lose everything,
Yeah.
or this is years of travesty, man. You can't catch a break. You're broken. You just worn up. I get it. We're not superheroes.
No.
But if you're crying because you're just disappointed, bro, then you hear, I need you to man up.
Right. Well, we both, I mean,
but
my
there's difference,
dad,
right?
yes, my dad being
Yeah.
Spanish and, growing up machismo and stuff, I was taught that doesn't, but later in life, I kind of paid for it because, crying, I have T-shirts that say crying is your strength. You can get strength out of tears, man.
Man, because you bottle yours up.
Yes.
And that's the thing about it. See, me, I became numb to it because I had to fight, physically fight, and mentally and emotionally fight every day.
Yeah,
I didn't get a break.
Yeah.
So I adapted to be numb to it. So every little thing didn't bother me.
Right.
So you go, as a little boy, you grow up, man, you get hit, kind of boom, boom, you get hit, you start, as a little boy, you cry and cry, and next thing you know, you're numb, and then you swing it back.
Yeah.
Right? And then you swing it back, you dodge, and you know how to maneuver differently. And so you approach life differently. He said, no, we're good. So you approach it differently. And so you have to have much more a firmer stance to have a solid ground.
Yeah, I get you.
And so it wasn't like my emotions weren't real. I didn't have time.
Wow.
Because I had to navigate, bro. So I didn't have that. So I'm so different with my kids, especially like let's say we're men. We're talking about my son. My son's 4.5. Man, I love
4.5.
Yeah, you're crazy. Right? I love on him so hard. You understand me? I kiss him in his mouth. Come here, man. I kiss him, hug him. This is all day, every day.
Dang.
And I hold him. I still hold him close because life is going to be tough enough. It's going to come to a point. And I'm going to teach him how to handle himself as a young man. But it's my job also. I'm not creating a soldier. I'm creating a man, a good man who's going to be well balanced, but he's going to be loved hard from his father. And loving him is telling him and showing him emotionally and mentally how I love him and how I love others, but also how to be strong in situations. And that's the balance, because some people, you think you have to be extreme in these choices, and you don't have to be extreme in teaching them how to be tough. Life is going to be tough.
Right.
We'll get there.
Right.
But your foundation needs to be built on love. And I need him to trust me. And the best way for my son to trust me is me loving him.
Right.
And so when I say, okay, he's going to stand up, swing, he won't doubt me. He trusts me. And so, so you graduate kids and to understand, but it's a relationship. It's a relationship above all things.
Yeah, that connection.
Yeah, man. So my son sees me, man, we'll have dinner. I just told a friend of mine this a couple of days ago. We'll have dinner. He'll look at me. I said, what's up, man? He said, hold on. Come give you a hug. Come give me a hug. And sometimes you do that three or four times. And I'm like this. I said, come here, man. And I just told him the other day, I said, one day, one day I'm going to be an old man. I won't be strong enough to pick you. You're going to be too big for me to pick you up. Man, you don't think I'm giving that loving it right now, man? That's for me.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's for him too. So, it's what we giving our kids. So you want to arm your kids, them with love and encouragement and support first.
Right, right.
Then you give them the other tools. Because there's always this imbalance of things. It's always one extreme way or another. I ain't making my son soft because his daddy ain't soft.
Yeah, right.
Because I don't tolerate that. But also, I'm firm with him, and when I talk to him, I don't. I tell people all the time, one of the greatest mistakes that people make with their kids and trying to teach them is that they're teaching them with this iron fist, right?
Yeah.
And they break a spirit. Once you break the spirit of a child, it's virtually impossible to rebuild that.
Yeah.
I'm a dude of size, and when I talk to my daughter and my son, she's bigger now. She's a tall girl. But when she was his age, and now that he's small, I don't tower over my son.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. I kneel down to him. I talk to him. When I have to kind of get him straight, hey, man, what are you doing? And we're dead on face to face. But I don't break his spirit because every time, what's it going to teach him? Every time he sees something that feels dominant, he's going to become docile.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm dad. But this is not okay. And I love him through it. And then I send him on his way. But there's a balance.
I get it.
Then I teach him to be able to do what he needs to do when he needs to do it. You know what I'm saying? So it's that balance, man. And we just make that mistake, man. We break if you talk about to anybody, especially on your show, if you talk to adults and most of their issues, 90% of the time is from childhood.
Completely.
And so when you're dealing with a child, this is the foundation for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, completely.
So you think about these choices you're making.
Yes.
Because you're sowing seed that will grow permanent roots.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
This has been so great that I could ask. You were a Klingon.
Yeah.
How was that?
All right, let's get into acting.
Just a little bit.
No, it's all good. No, man, it was so cool. It was crazy because J.J. Abrams wanted to have a different look for the Klingon. And so we had to do this. Oh my God. Okay, so they have to make this special prosthetics.
Yeah.
But the crazy part, and I pray I will never have to do this again.
Don't tell me.
Casting for the prosthetics. So you go in there, and mind you, I'm going to this place and I'm seeing all these cool masks and all this special stuff and these special effects. I'm like, oh, that's dope. Oh, I remember this from this movie, that movie. So I'm going in. So then I go into this small room, and I don't know why they would tell me this before I do it. So he tells me, listen, just be calm. Gerard Butler we had to start with him twice. It took us 3 times. I'm like, what the? We're gonna do it, right? So they mix this plaster.
Oh my!
And said, so listen, before we do it, just be calm. And when he said this, I was like, oh my God. He said, find a happy place. I said, oh, shit.
What?
So they have to pour this plaster all.
You don't have the job yet?
I got the job.
Oh, okay, you got the job.
So this is just
But you didn't know this was going to go down.
I didn't know that I had to do this.
Okay.
And they pour this plaster all over your face. You only could breathe.
Oh, my God.
You only could breathe.
There's no way.
You have it's through your nose, and they leave these openings through your nose. Everything else is melted all the way down to the mid-chest. And it's melting, and then it goes dark, and then it goes quiet.
What do you mean it goes dark?
Because you can't see. Your eyes are covered. It poured all over your whole face and chest and arms, and it gets heavy, and they start pressuring you, and you start like you're underwater, and you can't breathe, but like, I think it's through the mouth. I can't remember. And I was like, oh my gosh, just be calm. Let's be calm. It was hot. It was getting hot. It was getting heavy. And everyone once in a while say, are you okay? Just give us thumbs up and thumbs up like this. God, please let this end. So anyway, it was a crazy process, and it took 30 minutes of that. So just think, being
No, I can't think.
submerged. So Gerard Butler broke his twice. He snapped.
Wow.
People freak out.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was able to get through it, man. So anyway, so he wanted to see this cool prosthetics, man. It was pretty amazing, man, because they were using this really new, flexible prosthetics and stuff. And the first time we did a test, because we had to go on set for him to check it out. And it took 10 and a half hours. For the first time we ever did a test, 10 and a half hours for them to put that on. So once we start shooting and we got it down to a science, it took 4.5 hours to put on, 2 hours to take off. It's crazy.
Oh my! And so you just had to
You
wear
just had
it.
to bear it, man.
Now, was it heavy when you're wearing it in the scene?
No, it wasn't heavy, but you have something on, because it's crazy, because they'll take pieces. It didn't come in like a full mass.
No.
They take pieces of different parts of your face and have made prosthetic pieces from it, and moves with your skin. So you can still see you under there, but it moves your skin, and then all this stuff that they decorated with, and paint and all spray and all this, but it was a process. So you get hot. And, the uniform, the outfit was, I would have to, like, oh my God, I have to have these bands around my arm. I would have to Velcro them open and hang just to get some air.
Wow.
Oh, it's crazy.
And that
It was amazing.
It was on a set or
It was on
outside?
set. Inside.
It gets hot in there, no?
Oh yeah, because when you're shooting, you can't have the air on,
And the lights are.
and you have lights. But the set was amazing, man. They built the whole world, and J.J. Abrams was mad cool, and
Cool.
it was cool. I think I was surprised because you got this short Jewish guy who plays some old school hip hop R&B. I'm sorry, hip hop.
Yeah.
In between takes,
That's cool.
like. It was dope. He was mad cool.
All right, listen. I want to talk to the audience for a second. I told Sean that I don't think anybody that I've had conversations with quite a lot have ever gotten in depth about their childhood and what it's like to just live in poverty and have to survive every day of your life. I've never heard it. But we should all be thankful that he talked about that, because there's probably a little boy right now somewhere, living in the same way, and maybe his mother by chance will see this show and see Sean discussing this, and that little boy will have some hope. That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about, bro.
Thank you, man. Thank you for coming.
My man, I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.